Did Genesis make the better coupe? This is the all-new 2025 Genesis GV80 Coupe, E-supercharged in silver over black Napa leather. When you go this route, you're getting 34 horsepower more, 14 pound-feet of torque more. You're gonna lose a little bit of cargo and towing capacity, but now we have a variant that slots in between the M Sport variants, the S Audi, the AMG 53 line in Genesis. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and comparing this against Infiniti, they're going to have a new QX65. It hasn't released yet, but I'm assuming this is going to have more power than that because this outperforms the Acura MDX Type S as well. 8.1 inches of clearance is standard on all trims, full LED for the signature lighting that goes into the crescent grille, and it goes into the large air intakes, and the lower gets the honeycomb design, adding to the luxury of electronically controlled suspension, which reads the road in front of you by the camera, so it makes it more smooth for potholes or speed bumps, and you don't feel that in the interior. I mean, the only vehicle that offers this besides Genesis is Audi, in which when you go for that variant, it's over 6 figures. But the power is what makes this vehicle a little bit more special, and basically comes fully loaded because you only have 2 trims to option, whereas if you go into the GV80, you have 4 different options for the 2.5 turbo and 2 different options for the twin turbo 3.5 liter. Here, you get that 3.5 liter twin turbo, but there's a twist to it. They add a E-supercharged 48 volt mild hybrid technology, which is going to increase the horsepower to 409 with 405 pound-feet of torque paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, going back to the competition like we were talking about, BMW, Audi, and Mercedes. That's what Genesis is going after. They have revamped all of their dealerships, making it more of an exclusive luxury line, and I appreciate that because the price to this is near $90,000. And what can you get with BMW? Well, you're touching bases into the M60, which is going to have a little bit more performance than this because you got 500 horsepower. It's basically a detuned M engine for a fraction of the price. But this is going to be more powerful than the base X6, which is 375 horsepower, which would match the GV80 without that electric supercharge. And now you know what I mean by sweet spot, because when you put that on paper alone, it's more than enough power to motivate this vehicle. As for Mercedes, going to the AMG line, you're going to spend a little bit more money, and you're gonna have a little bit more power, but the torque is going to be more here. As for Audi, you'd have to go into the SQ8, which is going to be over $90,000 in order to actually compete with this. And unfortunately, when you have 500 horsepower and it's a more or less detuned Lamborghini engine, it doesn't. And 22-inch wheels. This is huge. Behind those black Genesis calipers house 4 pistons in the front, a single piston in the rear. 20 inches is the smallest wheel that you can get, and the signature bi-LED turn signals on the quarter panel, so it gives a signature touch with the standard moonroof. The standard GV80 3.5 twin turbo is going to tow up to 6,000 pounds. This hasn't been rated yet. The coupe design comes into the rear. You have the digital rear view mirror that's tucked on the top spoiler that drops into the trunk lid spoiler, quad LED taillights. The lower gets quad exhaust tips with the grille pattern, so it has a similar look to Audi with a high-performance gas pressurized shock absorbers for the front and the rear. It's all multi-link. It's picked up a little bit more. It looks more aggressive. The standard GV80 is not going to have this same setup, so you can already see the difference in the performance highlights for the exterior. The first reason why this is the better coupe to go to is because it's under $90,000. For the features that you're getting, for the performance, if you go into any German rival, it's going to touch bases well over 6 figures to get the features that come standard here. I mean, let me know your thoughts on what you think about the exterior of the new GV80 Coupe and the performance that is housed underneath the hood. Power liftgate going into 30.3 cubic feet, which is 6.2 cubic feet less than the non-coupe. 12-volt charger, LED interior lights. Underneath the floor has a little bit of storage, but what I like is that privacy cover. You can store it underneath the floor. Fold the rug out so that way you can see the second row. You just push these 2 buttons here. It's going to electronically fold down and that will maximize cargo to 62.1 cubic feet, which is 9.6 cubic feet less than the non-coupe. We need to go inside, start up this twin turbo E-Supercharged so you can hear that exhaust note. The key fob for the all-new GV80 Coupe. This also has the smart parking, which will move the vehicle forward and reverse. Soft closed doors is going to start off. Going into 16-way power seat adjustment for the driver, heated, ventilated ergo motion, which is basically a massage seat for the driver, 12-way power seat adjustment for the passenger, heated and ventilated memory for the driver. And now you're seeing that interior, the all redesigned and all new coupe. Let's fire it up. What I like is we get the carbon fiber, which you should have this because it really makes it a lot more sport derived with this 27-inch OLED touch screen with wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio, and you still have physical buttons. It's a touchpad here as well as a touchpad for the climate control with standard tri-climate control settings. Genesis Pay quiet mode, which is cool because if you are listening to that 18 speaker banging awesome sound system, you can use this and it will toggle the speakers only to the front so that way it will be quiet for people in the back seat. Put it into reverse and we have a 360-degree reverse camera, full trajectory for the front and the rear. Click onto here and you got a 3D view so you can go all around the vehicle, and you have different camera layouts when you click on this sub menu here, so you can see on the sides, you can see in front of you, or just behind you for lining it up for the towing. The only dislike that I have right off the bat is the fingers spots that will come into play for this touchpad. Otherwise, they did an excellent job with touch and feel materials. This is not going to be in the 3.5 twin turbo. It only goes in the E-Supercharged heads-up display. These are all standard features in all trims with a digital rear view mirror, a large panel moonroof, working into more carbon fiber that goes into a wireless charging pad, 2 USB ports, and a 12-volt charger. Everything has been cleaned up the way it should be, but there isn't any pass-through, which I kind of would like to see that. I like how they've done the rotary knobs. It looks a lot more expensive and elegant, as well as the fingerprint right here, and you still have physical buttons as well as your driving mode select, which you have a ton of different driving modes, starting with Eco, Comfort, Sport, Sport S, My, and Snow. And when you use your turn signals, you have the blind spot view monitoring, which shows the camera on the side view mirror where you are indicating, which is one of the only vehicles that does this. And the gauge cluster is fully digital. You can go through an array of different content for the driver with a touchpad that has been implemented. Leather wrapped steering wheel, it's heated multi-function. And I like the new design that they have implemented. You have the perforated and the cross stitch with the paddle shift. Door panel and dashboard configuring together nicely. You're getting 1400 watts out of this banging awesome sound system. You have the carbon fiber up top. It's going to be more sporty. One touch up and down for all the windows, and they keep the sporty touch alive with a large storage pocket and a beverage holder carved out. Headroom is good, and the same thing for leg room. The other con that I have is they still have not given the same power seat adjustment for the passenger or the ergo motion. You can also adjust this forward and backwards to make it a little bit easier for the passenger in the rear. Going into the back, this is the opening that you have. I like the seat belts with the contrast stitching. 3 can fit, or you can simply use the cup holders and the storage for 2 to fit in the back. A little bit more luxurious with climate control, heated, ventilated rear seats, USB ports, home plugs, storage behind both of the front seats. Legroom, it's good, as well as headroom, and I'm at 6'3". Door panel has the same materials that's found in the front. A little bit more of a longer grab handle area with a smaller storage pocket. Sliding into the center, the floor isn't completely flat, so you're going to share some feet space, butt, leg, and shoulder space. But for the most part, it's a wide vehicle. You're not gonna have issues there. Knee space, it's not gonna be an issue, but for headroom, it's gonna be a little bit tight for anybody that's over 6 foot to sit in the center. 409 horsepower with 405 pound-feet of torque. That's up 34 horsepower and 14 pound-feet of torque more than the standard 3.5 twin-turbo engine if you option the coupe or non-coupe variant. What I like about this is you have the electronically controlled suspension that reads the front for you. Like I was saying on the exterior, that's a luxury feature that's found in the A8 and S8 Audi. That's over $100,000 once you get features that's comparable to this. Check out this performance now, look at this. You get the exhaust that filters in. It's a nice soundtrack. I do like what I'm working with. There's a little bit of lag, but with this twin turbo engine, it was already good before pairing it with the E-Supercharged hybrid, which is a 48 volt mild hybrid technology. The interior is exactly the way it should have been appointed, giving us the Nappa leather, giving us carbon fiber. When you get into the coupe, you want it to be more sporty. They have nailed it, especially with the contrast stitching, this 27-inch OLED touchscreen. I mean, once you start thinking about all of this as a total package, you're now starting to understand the deal that's trickling in. It's gonna take me to some pros and cons. We're gonna start off with the pros to the vehicle, which we've already said a lot. But to kind of conclude that segment, you can actually fit, if you're over 6 foot tall, in the back. So typically when you get into these coupe SUVs, that's not the case. It's kind of like a sports car lifted up. This is not something that's going to be as dynamic as the Germans, which is going to be a con to me because this is a whole new variant, and I kind of wish that they would have went that route and also maybe gave us a little bit more horsepower, but I'm all right with over 400 because it's enough. I mean, look at what you got now. Motivation that gets you to the place quick and to the point. Sound deadening is excellent. Comfort to the ride is good. You do sit up a little bit higher than my liking because I'm at 6'3". However, it's hard to complain about what you're getting in this segment. You also have heated center armrest and on the door, which is found in the Germans. You're not going to get that when you go Acura or Infiniti, so they've taken it up a notch. Lexus doesn't even have something that's comparable to this, but I mean, let me know what you think about that. It's going to feel a lot more luxurious with the sport touch. That's definitely a pro, but because of the price that you are entering in, it would be nice if it had a little bit more of that sport vibe. Now to stop point, she's a fun vehicle. Putting into Sport Plus, it also highlights the exhaust that will filter in. 22-inch wheels, I'm not feeling any imperfections in the road. It just glides, which when you go into BMW, it's gonna be more sporty of a drive. The same thing with Mercedes. Audi can be more sporty. It just depends on the trim that you choose. That's why this becomes that unique sweet spot, which gives me the second reason why this is the better coupe. I guess the biggest problem that I can find is it's so quiet in the interior. If you're not in Sport Plus, you don't know how fast you're going, which could get you a huge speeding ticket. But because we have the heads-up display, you can see everything right there. And with this screen, when you use your indicators, you can see every blind spot, which takes me to the final reason why this is the better coupe. Not only with safety, with technology upgrades, more horsepower and torque than the base, giving us a 21st century twist with one of the most unique brands in class. Well, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise website and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like. And I'd like to thank Genesis of Lakeland for giving us this 2025 Genesis GV80 Coupe E-Supercharged for our car review.